Hopefully everyone's joining us slowly and surely as they check their email to see that a new link was sent. So tonight, thank you for joining us for our Civic Awareness Series, sponsored by the nonpartisan organizations of the League of Women Voters, serving the communities of Warrenville, West Chicago, Winfield, Wheaton, and Carroll Stream, and the Robert McCormick House located at Cantigny Park in Winfield. By now, I'm sure you're all Zoom pros, but just to let you know, we have turned off your video and muted all your microphones. If you do have questions, we encourage you to use the chat box located at the bottom of your Zoom screen during Clerk Kaczmarek's remarks. Hopefully, time permitting, all will be answered by the end of the program. If not, we will be saving your chat and we will get back to you with the answers to your questions. We are so happy tonight to welcome DuPage County Clerk Jean Kaczmarek. Clerk Kaczmarek has successfully managed 2 elections and taken steps to modernize the election division since her election in 2018. Now, she and her staff of DuPage Election Division face new challenges with the current pandemic and the passage of Senate Bill 1863 that was signed in June by Governor Pritzker. So we'd like to welcome Jean. Thank you so much for being with us for a conversation regarding the challenges facing the division to ensure another successful election and due to the enactment of Senate Bill 1863, and what we need to know to successfully cast our ballots, our vote in November. So, Jean, all yours.
Thank you for this invitation, Barb, and the Wheaton League of Women Voters. I only wish that I could see all of you in person. And prior to the pandemic, I frequently invited members of the public to the county clerk's office. Thanks to Zoom, I can bring a little of the office to you. I have surrounded myself with suffragette artwork. The faces of Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Carrie Chapman Catt, Alice Paul, and DuPage's own Ellen Martin serve as a constant reminder of what got me here and the job I must do. It's a tough act to follow. Governor Pritzker signed SB 1863 a month ago today. Our election division has been very busy to comply with the new law. Most significantly, the law calls for the expansion of vote by mail due to COVID-19. And all recent voters in Illinois are to be sent vote by mail applications. Early voting hours will be increased. Election Day, November 3rd, has been declared a state holiday. Schools will be made available as polling places where necessary. A large central polling place must be established for Election Day. And finally, a bipartisan panel of 3 judges will determine if a vote by mail ballot can be rejected. All told, our office will receive an additional $3.5 million in CARES funding to our budget. Roughly $1.5 million from the Illinois State Board of Elections and the remaining $2 million from DuPage. And I'm very pleased that Chairman Dan Cronin and the county board have been very supportive of funding to make our 2020 election run smoothly. This funding will pay for a new vote by mail sorter and other equipment to specifically support vote by mail operations, the printing of vote by mail applications and envelopes, postage, staffing, PPE, and other necessary resources. Our office will be going beyond the mandate and will be sending out applications to all registered voters. And we will be able to provide the postage to return applications and ballots. I'm going to talk a few minutes about what voters can do to help make the vote by mail run smoothly in 2020 And this question is probably going to come up later in the evening, but that's okay. It can't be repeated enough. First, I strongly encourage voters who intend to vote by mail to apply for a ballot early. The easiest way to do so is to securely go online through our website. We launched our online application the day the governor signed the bill. It just takes a minute to apply online, and then be patient. Ballots cannot be mailed out until September 24th. And then you need to allow another 4 to 5 days for delivery. So don't expect your ballot until the last few days of September. When the ballot arrives, there will be an insert with simple instructions, and then the ballot will look just like the ballot, the paper ballot in polling places where you fill in the ovals with a dark pen. Please complete the ballot as soon as possible and place it in the envelope provided and seal it. And then on the back of the envelope is a box you must sign, and your signature will be compared with your voter registration signature for verification. So that quick squiggle that you make for credit card purchases at stores won't work unless you use that identical squiggle when you register to vote. Postage will be paid for, so no worries about hunting for stamps. And then just drop it in the mailbox. Done. Ballot envelopes that are returned to our office unsealed, unsigned, or with a signature that doesn't reasonably resemble your voter registration signature will be rejected. If rejected, you will be notified and you will be given the opportunity to correct that problem. But it's so much easier and faster to follow the simple instructions the first time and do it right. If you're planning to vote by mail, here's why we're asking you to do so early. In the big vote by mail states, registered voters are generally not sent applications. Voters in these states are sent ballots weeks in advance. And those ballots start to be returned right away, and most are received by Election Day. The vote by mail states know it's coming, and that's why it works. Illinois is not a vote by mail state per se. Vote by mail has been greatly expanded this year in response to COVID-19. We don't know what's coming, only that it will be big. We have an application process prior to sending out the ballots, and processing tens, if not hundreds of thousands of applications is a massive, time-consuming process and requires the work of many individuals. It becomes much more challenging the closer we get to Election Day. And if applications are coming in late in October, then it means that the ballots are also coming out late in October as well. An avalanche of last-minute applications and ballots can be avoided with the help of voters taking action sooner rather than later. Now, we've all heard the term flatten the curve a lot this year. This phrase also pertains to vote by mail. To flatten the curve, those who are planning to vote by mail should apply securely on our website now, or return a completed application arriving in mailboxes of registered voters within several weeks. The election division will be able to process the application and have the ballot sent out on September 24th. Once it's received 4 to 5 days later, please complete it and drop it in the mail right away. The more ballots we receive early, the better, and the curve will be flattened instead of spiking on Election Day. With the expansion of vote by mail in Illinois and around the country, gone are the days where election results will be done on election night, with potentially tens of thousands of ballots arriving to our office after November 3rd. It's possible that results in some races will be flipped between November 3rd and the following 14-day period prior to certification. And while you'll be hearing heavy emphasis on vote by mail tonight, please keep in mind that it's one of several options to vote. We still have the conventional early voting and election day. Absentee early voting begins September 24th at the fairgrounds. With absentee early voting, you will be issued a paper ballot. And by the way, that's how I chose to vote during the primary. And in those early days, 2, 3, 4 weeks prior to the election, there were hardly any voters in line. Hint. Again, that's absentee early voting. You can vote on paper, and this option starts September 24th and continues until Election Day at the fairgrounds. Regular early voting starts on October 19th, and this is where you can vote on touchscreens at locations throughout DuPage. We're working right now to increase that number, beginning in underserved areas of the county, and those locations will be publicized when completed. And finally, there's Election Day itself on November 3rd at your assigned polling place where you can vote on paper or touchscreen. The 100th anniversary of the Women's Right to Vote and the League of Women Voters has arrived in the same year of what may be an historic high voter turnout election year, even during a pandemic. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. We did have a lot of questions that were submitted in advance, and so I'm going to keep my eye on the chat, and I'm also going to ask the questions that people are curious about. Doesn't have to be rapid fire, but they're kind of nuts and bolts questions that everyone wants to know about. So first one, someone wrote in and said, I've voted every year. Why can't the system find me when I check my registration online?
The most likely reason is that the Social Security or driver's license is not on the file. Many years ago, that information was not required when registering to vote. So if that happens, call our office and provide the last 4 digits of your Social Security number or driver's license, and then the system will be updated overnight.
Great, and then they can check in on the next couple days and make sure that they're in there and their registration's up to date. Excellent. This is probably a repeat question, but bears repeating. When will I get my application for a ballot? And to return the application, do I need a stamp?
All registered voters in DuPage County who hadn't already applied for a ballot will receive an application in several weeks, and you won't need a stamp. And you don't need to wait for this application, though. You can apply online right now at dupageco.org/election/vote by mail. Again, that's dupageco.org/election/vote by mail, and you won't need a stamp.
Oh, great, great. What happens if I apply for a ballot and I don't get it?
Well, first keep in mind that by law, we cannot mail out a ballot prior to September 24th. And then you must allow another 4 to 5 business days for the post office to deliver it. If you applied for a ballot early and it did not arrive by the end of September, then you should call our office to have your first ballot voided and another reissued.
Okay. So if I don't get it by, say, September 30th, I should call and ask them to issue another ballot.
Yes.
Okay, great. What are the important things I must do to make sure that my vote by mail is counted?
You must drop the ballot in the mailbox right away to make sure it's postmarked by Election Day, November 3rd. You must make sure that the ballot envelope is sealed. You must sign the back of the envelope, and that signature should resemble what you have on your voter registration. Remember that when you vote during early voting or election day, election judges compare your signature with what's on record. And the same thing happens with vote by mail.
So in the instructions, they'll be to do the oval, to fill in the oval so that people
Right.
don't do no checks, no X's, nothing like that. Fill in the
Right.
circle.
And we are providing an insert with the ballot with the simple instructions on how to complete your ballot.
What happens if I don't follow directions and I make a mistake and my ballot is rejected? What's the process then?
Well, you will receive notice that the ballot was rejected through mail or through email if we have your email on file. And you will have the opportunity to have another ballot and start the process completely over. But it's so much better for everyone to follow directions the first time, right, Bob?
Right.
And yeah, this may show up on a pop quiz later on tonight, but apply early, fill out the ballot once it arrives, place the completed ballot in the envelope provided, seal it, sign the back of the envelope well, and then drop it in the mailbox. No postage required.
Great. Okay, this is an interesting question. How is my ballot secret if my signature is right there when I mail it in and people are opening it?
We will be receiving thousands of ballots in big batches. Those ballots will be quickly fed through a giant new mail sorter. Teams of bipartisan election judges will be comparing signatures. And then once the envelope is approved, it shoots through this machine very quickly, and then it's opened automatically by the machine and very quickly sorted into more batches. During this process, there'll be a number of people watching, and it would be extremely difficult to single out an envelope and then match it with a ballot, especially in a large county like DuPage.
And thousands of ballots going through the process at the same time, yeah. Next question. What can I do if I don't want an envelope going through the mail with my signature exposed?
We'll have 2 secure drop boxes, one in the parking lot of the 421 County Farm Road building here. And by the way, the parking lot is very well lit 24/7 and monitored by security staff and cameras. And the drop box will be embedded in cement. We'll also have another box in the main entrance of the 421 County Farm Road building. And then teams of bipartisan election judges will be retrieving those ballots on a daily basis or as needed. And then you may also drop off your ballot at our election division office or at a polling place.
So I'm assuming that they could take it to an early polling place too if they desired. Right. Okay, great. What should this question is probably meant for me because this will happen to me. What should I do if I make a mistake on my ballot that was mailed to me? Can I use whiteout? How do I fix it?
If your ballot is ruined, you should call the election division and your first ballot will be voided and a new one will be sent to you. We don't recommend whiteout, but we've seen pretty much everything come through the mail. Coffee stains, ketchup stains, evidence that the dog played with it.
So in other words, we should just read the instructions carefully so we don't make any mistakes.
Thank you, Barb.
Okay. Do I have to use a special pen? When I go vote in the voting booth, they give me a special pen. Do I need a special pen at home?
Here's a secret. You don't need a special pen. You can use a black pen or a black felt pen. Those work best, but even a dark blue pen works. You shouldn't use a Sharpie though, because it might bleed through.
Oh, okay. What happens if I asked for a vote by mail, requested a vote by, filled out an application, got my ballot, but now I've lost my ballot? I can't find it on my desk.
If you lose your ballot or it gets ruined, you should call the election division and your first ballot will be voided and a new one will be sent to you. However, to reduce the risk of losing or ruining your ballot, please complete it as soon as possible and drop it in the mailbox. Barb?
Good idea. Can someone else drop off my my vote by mail ballot at the polling place? Can I give it to my husband to have him take it in when he goes to vote?
Yes, someone else can drop off your vote by mail ballot, but the short affidavit on the flap of the back of the envelope must be completed and signed.
By my husband. Did he do that?
By both of you, yes.
By both of us. Okay, then he handed it in. And Jean, this is just off the top of my head. I can always turn my ballot in at the polling place, right?
Yes, you could do that.
Okay. But I'm thinking, why would I do that if I filled out an absentee ballot? Maybe I should have gone to vote. Anyway. Can I vote in person if I requested a vote by mail?
Yes, but you would need to surrender your vote by mail ballot at the polling place. And if you don't have it for whatever reason, on election day, you would need to vote provisionally.
Okay, and can you quickly explain what that means, provisionally?
Right, a provisional ballot, you just have to fill out a special form and then you'll receive a regular ballot. And it's put in a special envelope and all of those are gone through carefully. And so what will be determined is whether or not you had already cast a ballot with the first time it was sent.
Okay, great. How will I know my ballot is counted?
Well, you check on the website, on the voter lookup portion of the website, or you could use ballot tracking, which will be available in the general election. And also the office will contact you if your ballot has been rejected. But once your ballot has been accepted, it absolutely will be counted.
Okay. And so I can check online and follow the progress of my ballot, that,
Yeah.
that you got it and it was counted. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is an interesting question. If a person sends in a mail-in ballot in October, but dies before November 3rd, does that ballot still count?
Yes, it does. And because the vote was cast. And also, if you vote for a candidate and that candidate receives the most votes and dies, then that candidate will also win.
Because there'd be no way to tell what that person voted for, so how could you negate their ballot, right?
Right?
Okay, great. Can we talk about how many election judges do you need for the November election, and what are the criteria? Where can people apply?
Mhm. We'll need approximately 3,200 election judges for November. And at this moment, our election judge list is doing pretty well, but we're always recruiting new judges. And with SB 1863, we can accept 16-year-olds and above to serve as election judges. They can't vote until they're 18, but they can serve as an election judge. And so if you're interested, you just apply on the website, and thank you in advance.
Okay. And so hopefully there'll be enough judges for early voting and all the sites and everything. What safety measures are you taking for those who wish to vote in person and for the election judges?
Well, we've ordered a large amount of PPE through the Department of Homeland Security, including masks and gloves. Hand sanitizer has been donated. We'll be promoting social distancing. We'll have cleaning supplies. We'll be following basically the guidelines set forth by the governor and by the Illinois Department of Public Health for everyone in the polling place, the voters as well as the election judges.
Great. Okay. And one more question from someone was, during the primary, many polling places had to be changed due to the virus. Do you anticipate similar problems? How will voters know where their voting site, if their voting site has been changed?
Yeah. 17 polling places were changed days before the primary due to COVID-19. And because it was all last minute, we had no choice but to open up a large polling place at the fairgrounds for everyone who preferred to vote on election day. And so far, about 10% of our polling places will be changing in DuPage County. Many of those will be going into schools. We have time to notify all of those voters assigned to those polling places by mail in advance and tell them where their new polling place will be. If there are last minute changes of polling places for the general due to COVID, we'll do whatever we can to notify those voters through the website, the media, signage, etc. And of course, people can always go on our website and check the status of their polling place.
Okay, great. So are there any we do have some more questions on the chat that I think you've gone over. Someone asks, is there a difference between absentee voting and vote by mail? That's just a change in terminology now, right?
It is. And
we have to learn
the lingo hasn't been changed.
Okay. Someone on the chat is asking if someone is newly registered, they automatically get a vote by mail, don't they, if they're a new registered?
Yes.
So there's no need for them to fill out an application when they register. They automatically get an application, or will get a ballot. Okay. Let me see here. Someone ordered theirs today from Montana. Yay. Well, are there any final words you'd like to give us and advice?
No, just thank you again for this opportunity. I'm always looking for ways to get the word out, and the League of Women Voters has been extremely supportive of public information for as long as I can remember. And thank you very much for your service.
Oh, thank you for coming on tonight. And just to sum things up, the message tonight is to ask for your application now online.
Mhm.
To fill out, wait for your ballot until the end of September,
Mhm.
then return it quickly. Check the website for early voting sites and places and times and locations. And those early voting hours have been extended with this new law. So later at night and on weekends, they'll be open, right?
Right,
And
but DuPage has always done a pretty good job about having extended hours anyway.
so, well, we hope everyone there, I know we didn't get to all your questions. Please know that we're saving the chat and we'll get you answers to all those questions. But we hope that you'll all be ambassadors and relay the information you've heard tonight. And this program is recorded and will be posted on the Wheaton League of Women Voters website. So please share with your friends and your neighbors. We encourage you also to look on the website for answers before you call the election office. As you've heard tonight, they're going to be very busy, and we hope that you can find those answers by just searching the website or talk to your local league member who may have the answers too. So Judy, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you, and thank you again, Jean.
Thank you.
So thank you, Clerk Kaczmarek, for making us smarter about vote by mail. We really appreciate it. And please remember, as Barb said, that this program is being recorded or was recorded, I should say, and it will be posted on our website in the next few days. So be sure to, and our website is on the screen right now. So, and then also, please join us next month. We have Dr. John Mueller, and he's going to be talking about racism. So please be sure to register for that on our website as well. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Let me just stop recording.